Hello everybody, this is KyleIceW, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my top 5 gameplay tips. I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this is in no particular order, by the way. I'm just kind of excited to kind of give you guys my tips that I've used more often than I can even count. I've been using them since they've been added into the game, more or less, and I've even gotten a couple friends to use it, or if I've seen them not using it, I definitely would recommend using them. So we're just going to go down a list from 5 to 1. Like I said, no particular order. I guess if you want to think that they might be in an order, I guess they might be. For I guess veterans players or veteran players, people that basically play the game a lot, basically should know what these are. If you aren't using them, I think they are very useful. So if you are a veteran player and you aren't using these and you don't think it's useful, you don't have to do it. It's just something that I think it is a gameplay tip, so it's supposed to help you out if you want. So I just hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get started. So number 5 is going to be gear sets, and whenever I go into a new tip, I'm going to basically show you how to do it, and then basically kind of what it does. I'll give you an explanation of what it does. So if you go into your bag, right down at the bottom of the book, there is kind of looks like a set of gear. It's called equipment sets, and you can actually just create an equipment set or a gear set. You basically equip everything that you want on for that set of gear. For example, like your main I guess equipment, or your tank equipment, your crit gear, energy gear. And this is extremely helpful because before this was added into the game, you actually weren't able, you had to equip and unequip everything individually. So people were asking for something along the lines of this, and I think they even edited it, or they even added the fact that you can, I believe, have a mount. Yeah, see right there, I had a mount equipped when I when I did it. Not for all of them, but it is an extremely helpful little thing here, and I use it all the time. And whenever you want to change, you don't even need to be in your bag anymore. You can just hit control whatever number, so control 1, 2, 3. And one thing that I think I would change with this is I would probably have the ability to move them around. So when you do create a new one, it goes right to the bottom of the list, and there is no way to like move it around, which is kind of unfortunate. Because, for example, if I were to get a new piece of gear for my main gear, which isn't going to happen very often. I mean, I am level 130 now, so I kind of want to see some new gear. But you actually you would delete, after you change the gear, you would delete this and then make a new one, and it would just pop up at the bottom. All the other ones would move to the top. So then tank set would be my control 1. So I wish that you would be able to just move them around, which it would just be a nice little feature added to this tip. So that is tip number 5. Let's go into tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be lock items. So lock items, if you go into your bag again, is right here. This is not an option that is automatically onto your character. In fact, if you go on, you actually won't even see this option. But what it basically does is, once you lock an item, you cannot sell it, you can't auction it, you can't share it, trade it, trash it. You can't do anything to it, which is amazing, because if it's something that you want to keep in your bag and not accidentally sell, it won't even show up on the sell list. So basically just lock your items, and it's extremely safe, and I absolutely love this, and it is such a lifesaver, and I recommend everybody should do it. It is, if you don't have it on now, it is a pain to turn it on and then do what am I trying to say? Lock all of your items. But it is well worth it, and I really think that anybody that isn't using it should use it. To activate it, all you have to do is go to, hit escape, go to gameplay options 2, and then right here where it says backpack item lock, just click it. It should say no at the moment. Just hit yes, and then hit OK, and then you should have the ability to lock and unlock items. So yeah, that is my tip number 4. Let us go to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is carry more than one deck. So these next couple tips are going to be kind of all about your deck. I wasn't sure which ones to do. If I ever do another video, it might be more about like gameplay in a battle, or something like that. But right now, this is going to be a little bit more for gameplay for your deck and stuff like that. So carry more than one deck. I recommend, especially for gear sets. I guess that's also why I added into this. if you have more than one deck, not only can you add these decks to your gear sets, so whenever you change your set, you'll actually be able to change your deck as well. I actually have all of the same deck because I love the Rasputin deck. But I think it is extremely helpful to have more than one deck, because when you're in your bag and you want to change your entire deck for a completely new battle that is for a completely new strategy, you actually have to get rid of all of your cards and then replace them, which is such a pain. And I think that is much more helpful to have all of the same deck, which might take a little bit of farming, but I think it is extremely worth it. And yeah, and it's a really good tip. So if you guys were wondering how I can quickly change my deck so quickly, people have asked before, that is how I do it. And yeah, that is tip number 3. Let's go ahead and go to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is kind of one that I feel like everybody should know. And if you don't, it's just, it's in the list. So for me, when I'm in a battle and I run out of blades, I kind of need more blades, or I need something to do during that round. So instead of passing, which is something that you really shouldn't do, I guess that could be another tip, but you never pass, in your treasure card deck, put utility spells. So I have ice blades. I have plus 45 ice blades. You can buy them from almost any vendor that sells treasure cards except for the Wizard City one, because it is a pretty good card. You can pack tower shields, you can pack any fairy spells, like any utility spells that you usually would use, that you want to use if you don't have them in your hand, if that makes sense. So basically never try to pass. Always have kind of a utility thing in your deck. So for example, like I said, if I'm in battle and I'm doing my thing and I come across a hand that doesn't have anything to do, like I can't do anything, like I basically can just enchant all my stuff, but I don't have enough pips to do anything, I can just blade myself with a blade. So I think this is extremely helpful, and I know a lot of people do use this, but I feel like if some people don't, I recommend definitely doing it. It's very helpful, and I absolutely love this tip. So yeah, that is going to be tip number 2. Let us go ahead and get to tip number 1. So tip number 1 is kind of my big pet peeve. I feel like a lot of people do it and a lot of people don't do it, and it's all about preference. Like I said, this is not in any particular order, but if it was, this probably would be my number 1. Let's go into our deck, and I've already shown you this before, and I've talked to a lot of people about this. Having a very small deck is very important. So what a lot of people will do, and I'll even go to my PvP deck, this is what their deck will look like, filled with cards, and it is just crazy. So when you go into a normal battle with just minions, you're going to get loads and loads of random cards that you do not need, which is kind of crazy. I don't understand why people do this, but if you go into a battle with this, not only are you going to get just the cards that you need, but you'll be able to finish the battle much quicker. And this also goes in with the whole utility spells. When you have a small deck, using treasure cards is very important. So having a very small deck, I think, is an amazing tip that I don't remember where I learned it. I think I remember I was just questing and I started getting rid of cards and I was like, I don't need this, I don't need this, and then my deck became extremely small. This also can be another tip with this. Having reshuffle in your hand is also really good, because if you do have a small deck, having reshuffle in your hand is very important. You can just, if you accidentally, if for example somebody uses like Storm, or somebody uses Earthquake, and gets rid of all your blades before you hit, you can always reshuffle real quick and then just kind of restart. Hopefully you don't have to get to that point, because it is supposed to be a quicker battle, but it's just very important. I think is a very good tip. And yeah, I think those are going to be my top 5 tips for myself. I've used these all the time, literally every time I play Wiz. I'm always using these tips, always. I'm always switching between gear sets, especially if I'm helping somebody. If they're like, hey, can you be more on the defensive? Hey, can you be more on the offensive? And I think all these tips are very helpful. So if you guys aren't using them and were curious as to why I can change my gear sets or why the battles are so quick, that's why. So I recommend using all these. If you aren't, please do it. If not, that's totally fine. You don't have to. Another reason why I want to make this video is if you guys have any really good gameplay tips, please leave that in the comment section below. I would really appreciate it, and I feel like that anybody that's watching this video that's looking for some gameplay tips of any sort, you can just scroll to the bottom. And a lot of you guys that play Wiz are very smart in this game, and I definitely didn't mention every amazing tip that is in the game. If you guys want me to make another video like this, please let me know. I think that making little gameplay tips like this is kind of fun. And yeah, so in fact, I might even be able to use your comments. I might feature in like a little video for gameplay tips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. It will notify you whenever I post a brand new video. And I do stream every single Sunday. I'm going to keep mentioning that in the very end of my videos because not a lot of people, there aren't too many people that are joining. I have had a couple people join me, which is absolutely amazing. I will be streaming the classic walkthrough or classic challenge, let's play, whatever you want to call it, and it's so much fun. I really do appreciate everybody that keeps joining me, and I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in my next one. So yeah, bye guys.